9:30. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Woo! It's been 3 damn long years since the last time we were here in Anime Boston. Okay, so this panel is con survival, so we're going to talk about what to do before, during, and after, along with many other things. Okay, so we're talking about money, your health, your energy, even, all the other things. We're going to talk about networking as well. So if you're new to the con, or if you haven't been to a con in a few years or so, this is for you. So as I said before, the con planning, preparation, allocating time, money, right? Managing time. So during the con, you're managing time, money, and yourself. Because you gotta take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not gonna have fun. Okay, so etiquette and safety, networking. So after the con, we're gonna talk about what to do. So how to take care of yourself. And some people get sick. So we're gonna fight the con crud and the con blues and the con flu, whichever it is. So looking for a con, it's different because some people like it big, like this one. Some people like it a little smaller, they want that intimacy. Some people get overwhelmed over crowds. So size, so in terms of the real estate, the space, it could be also the amount of people, the location. Is it close to you? Is it far from you? All right, if the type of con, there's anime con. In July, I'm going to a pharmacy conference. All right, Covent Guidelines, some people will not come to a con if there are no COVID safety protocols being put in place. In Anime Boston, they have a pretty strong COVID protocols, safety measures in place. You cannot come here without a mask. Okay, I just saw 2 people stopped because they weren't wearing a mask. And you cannot come here without a proof of vaccination. So, is it physical or online? I prefer in person because online I get more interrupted, it's more distracting. It's a little easier, it's a little bit more flexible, but in person you get into the environment and you make the most out of it. So reviews and feedback. So how does the con do? In terms of other people's experiences. You have the time and money. That's always a big issue. Inflation, right? How much, I don't know what the gas prices are because I don't own a car. I'm from New York City.
It took me $70 to pull up before the
70 bucks, wow. It's almost $5 in New York City, that's where I'm from. All right, so, driving in New York City, I don't know about here in Boston, but driving in New York City, it's a nightmare. Don't do it, okay? It requires a special kind of skill. That's beside the point. So registering early, usually you tend to save more money. And sometimes cons may give you discount codes, but you have to know where to look for them. And you have to keep asking. Sometimes it's not always what you know, it's sometimes who you know. So you have to be prepared of scheduling conflicts. Some people have school, some people have to go to work, so you have to work on that. And budgeting, of course. So it's very, very important. I have a friend earlier this week who's coming to Anime Boston with only $3 under her belt. $3. She paid everything else. What do you do with $3 in an artist alley? Anyone know? Well, pins are getting more expensive now. Remember, inflation's going up. So COVID, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm sorry, okay? By the way, I forgot to tell you, there's a PharmD. I'm a pharmacist, so that's my doctorate degree, so that's a little hint. But that's okay. I'm gonna try to make it as easy as I can. So during COVID, so Anime Boston was hit not only once but twice, as you already know. So obviously large gatherings are banned to stop the infection. Why? Because at the time we didn't have a vaccine. We didn't have treatments available. We only have what we call supportive therapy. So basically control the fevers, stay home, stay isolated, And some cons like this one rolled over to this year. I paid for this con in 2019. So I've been waiting for this. So as a result, I don't know if Anime Boston had an online thing. I don't really focus so much on online cons simply because I cannot focus. I'm autistic, so I need to be in it, all right? Because if I see it through a screen, it's just not real. But that's just my opinion, okay? It's better than nothing, all right? So they've been mixing up between Zoom, Discord, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. I did a panel on Instagram Live. And now I just go on Twitch. So some canceled cons went online virtual. Some of them went hybrid. One of my cons in New York Comic Con where I live, they're gonna go hybrid, but you have to pay for it. So Sugar Honey Iced Tea happens. Okay, I can't say because I have to keep it PG, you know, pretty good. That's what I mean, keep it PG. All right, things can happen. You have to do your homework before purchasing tickets, because if you rush through it, a lot of times cons will not refund you. All right, it's non-refundable. So if you decide to go, you have to be prepared. So it's not just, obviously it's not just getting the badge. You also have to prepare on where you want to stay. How are you going to get there? All right, how are you going to budget? We're going to talk about that. So, and most cons and events, and as I said, non-refundable. If the organizer cancels, this happens, all right, so they will give you the option for either refunds or you can roll it over. So I decided to roll it over for this con. Another con in North Carolina, rolled it over, but it was coinciding with this con, so I said, no, refund. So that's one example. And even transportation gets canceled. Amtrak canceled my itinerary a few times. So you have to be prepared for that. Always have a plan B just in case. I had to take a bus to get here because my Amtrak train got canceled. So also plan for alternate routes, God forbid something happens. In Boston, for example, the Blue Line, north of, between Boring Heights and Wonderland, shut down. You gotta take a shuttle. So you have to budget extra time. That's just one example, if you take public transit. So yeah, with money, you have to estimate how much you may spend, all right? So you have to list all of these things to put them together. You know, Elon Musk is not your sugar daddy, I'm assuming, right? So if he is, you wouldn't have to worry about it, but you know, he's not my sugar daddy either, so I have to budget, okay? We all have to budget. Things are getting expensive. All right, so you gotta write things down, or you can do it on your notes app somewhere. All right, and you gotta mix it with the credit card, debit card, and cash, simply because not everyone accepts Apple Pay, not everyone accepts, you know, contactless payments, so you have to mix it up. So how are you gonna build up your war chest, so to speak? So you can do a few things. You can either, like, every time you get a paycheck, you can maybe take about a percentage, maybe 10% each time. Another way is you can just put a percentage on a regular basis based on whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly. So there's actually an app for that, Twine. And the earlier you start, the better. So, and the bigger the war chest. And you have to be proactive, okay? So as I said, to mix it up. And I keep track of every cent and dollar. I do that on my phone. All right. So why is that? Because even when you have an app like Mint, that's what I use. You know, you may forget to put the cash thing in, but the credit card, debit card, it's already put in if you connect it to the Mint app, for example. So that's the app that I use to track down my spending and how much I get. And avoid impulse reactionary spending. I know we all get excited. I want to get this. So you don't want to end up broke going back home. You don't. I'll explain why. So, God forbid something happens and you need to pay for something. What if you're not able to get it? What if something happens and you're not being refunded on your transportation if something gets canceled? You need to be prepared. Okay. And you always have to ask yourself, will I have enough to eat or travel? Will I have enough for the next cons? Will I have enough just so I can visit the area, so I can, make the most out of it? Oh yeah, some cons are free. You just have to look for it. Okay, so a lot of them are the online ones, but some of them, like the big cons, like your Comic Con, they're doing a hybrid. It's not free. So sometimes seeing the guests virtually can have extra costs. Personally, I like it in person. So when in doubt, you write it out. So I write down on the bottom. So there is a part with a minus sign, and then there's a minus and the plus, so I add it together. And that's my schedule for one of the cons. I think it was 3 years ago in New Jersey. So I write down all the stuff that's going to be taking place at a con. So I had a My Hero Academia photo shoot, I had a Japanese 101 panel at another con. There's a con feedback session, for example. So I plan down. I like to write things down because, what if your phone runs out of battery? Which I'll get to. You got to be prepared for that. You got to have your battery packs too. So just as a recap, build your war chest. All right, how much you want to contribute, and write down how much you want to save up. And also, keep track of all your con and event expenses, your travel expenses, your hotel expenses, your food and drink, miscellaneous, so the merch that you buy from dealer's room or artist alley. And keep in mind the amount of money to spend per person per day if you're traveling as a group. And as I said before, always have a lot of money left over, not $3, okay? $3 left over, you're basically almost broke. Anime Expo actually has one example you can use. So it's in a Excel spreadsheet. So what you do, you add the numbers and it'll calculate for you. I like to be simple. So FujiCon, oh wow, what happened here? Okay, so FujiCon is a con that's organized by my friend. It took place in Atlantic City last year. So that's how I budgeted. So 700 is actually an example. I didn't really spend 700, basically. The ones where it's variable, that's usually where I spend a lot less. The fix is what you had to spend, so you have to write those down. So you have your expected and your actual. I put it depends because some people may spend less, some people may spend more. So if you tend to spend a little bit more, try to budget a little bit more, and also watch your accounts. And you gotta have something left over. 40, 13 is not a lot, but it's better than $3. So registering, I don't know, I find it easy to register, but many different cons have different ways of registering. So most of them have a website. Great, beautiful. Okay, so some of them use third-party ones, so Eventbrite, Ticketly, Ticketmaster, etc. Some of them have different versions, different ways of getting it. So my hometown Comic Con, you need to get fan verified. That's New York Comic Con. Okay, Otakon, for example, San Diego Comic Con, a member account is required. I don't remember having a member account for Anime Boston. I remember I registered, boom, done. So finding a place to stay, I'm a cheap guy. I don't like spending a lot of money, but being cheap isn't always the best thing to go. So book early to save money and shop around for using different websites, which I will get to. I will talk about the different websites. So check reviews, feedback of different websites and hotels, and save money with hotel blocks. Anime Boston provided that. So a lot of cons will provide hotel blocks. But still, you have to shop. Because sometimes the hotel blocks, like the one I went to in the Poconos for a con, it's not Colossal Con East, it was another one. I had to spend $100 more. But I found one, and it was almost less than $200 a night. So now, save money with hotel blocks and consider price, quality, and distance. So it depends on you. If you focus on price, great, but sometimes the quality may not be the best. Everyone, I hope, knows that. Okay, so as I said, cheapest isn't always the best. Are you willing to spend more? So it's convenient to get to the con. And maybe the higher quality doesn't necessarily mean convenience. Maybe it requires a little bit more effort to get in there because it's a little far. And also, please, please, please read the fine print. All right, please. We don't want you to get into trouble or anything like that. So different websites, there's actually more coming up. So I use cheap tickets. Okay, but with hotels, you can do hotels.com, hotels tonight. Airbnb, I haven't used that one yet. So, but that's just there. So those, you have? How is it? For Airbnb?
Airbnb, they'll work with you to like see what you are, and they'll try to.
I'm very
figure out
suspicious.
on your dates.
Then again, I'm from New York City. I'm suspicious with people. Okay? Yeah, you have to do your background checks. Okay, so we're gonna compare a little bit. So you already know Airbnb, you stay at another person's home, generally speaking. And hotels, motels, you already know you have to book your own room. Hotels tend to be smaller. They don't have as much as amenities, and I don't think you stay too long. So that's not much differences there. So also, motels tend to be more affordable. Hostels are like dorms. This is the first time I did that last year in DC. They're affordable, but they're risky because you will be sharing with other people. You'll see all the bunk beds here, they'll do it next to each other. You'll be sleeping in the same room. And you'll be also sharing the same bathrooms. All right, so COVID risk, question mark. So if you're an extrovert, that's great for you because you can make new friends. I see a lot of tourists who do that, but you have to monitor your belongings because I don't trust a lot of people. And bring your own soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, loofah, like that's the one where like scrubbing thingy. Okay, that's what I did. So what I did was in that bathroom, you can have 3 people in the same bathroom. I don't like that. So I just locked the door, just by myself. I put all my stuff in there. I did everything because if I leave it in where the bunk beds are, I'm afraid someone's gonna steal my stuff. I'm bringing everything in one place, in the bathroom, and then I just do what I need to do and I get out quick. Done. All right, so an example for finding good deals is that this is just for last year, for one of the cons I went to. I went to the official website, almost $400. I went to the block, the hotel block, not even $200. Look at the savings, almost 200. Yes, that is true, okay? That's the evidence there. I screenshot all that. So after booking, I generally want to call the hotel and make sure that you're in there, that you're reserved, that you don't lose a room. I have a friend who lost a room in Atlantic City out of nowhere, and they're not refunded. It's ridiculous. So, of course, always check help and support page. And I try to keep it as 5 people per room. If you want to put as much people in the room as possible, then go ahead. Please be safe, okay? Try to do this try to make sure everyone's vaccinated if they're eligible. If not, make sure they're tested negative about 1 to 3 days prior. I will talk about that in detail. Also, find a free bag code check. I haven't found one yet. I remember seeing that 3 years ago. So, but in this case, I'm gonna check in. So I'm gonna put that in there in my hotel. So that's like a few blocks away. And online cons, you already know, as long as you have Wi-Fi, good Wi-Fi service, good cell service, you can use it and you can do it wherever you want. Generally, you do it at home. So if 1 or more people will room with you, you have to find out who you're gonna invite, and you have to know who you're inviting because, some of your friends who never, they may not get along, so you gotta be careful with that. And I tend to check with their COVID test or vaccination test. Sorry. So determine who the leader is. That's the person who's responsible for basically everything. So the bills, and to make sure the room is nice and clean, and make sure everyone's behaved. So communication is important. So we tend to have a group chat. Or get all their cell numbers. You don't have to do that, that's extra credit. But usually an Instagram group chat or a Facebook group chat usually works. And the leader has to evenly split the cost of the room. Okay, you gotta pay your share. Would you want your room to be like this? Neither do I. All right. I've seen some of my friends' hotel rooms like this. Food all over the floor, food all over the bed, food on the table. The stuff is all over the place. You know what I do? Like this. See my two things? I just bring my luggage and my backpack. I just put it in one place in the corner. And then I just take care of my stuff there. If you leave a mess like this and you check out, they may charge you extra. So please be careful. So you gotta emphasize the rule for everyone to follow, okay? Very, very, very important. Okay, don't, like for example, do not be loud in a hotel room. You have to be respectful and mindful of other people's space. I know it's obvious, but anyway, keep it clean. Don't get that kind of mess in there, okay? And you have to clean up after yourselves. If you take care of something, you gotta fix it up after you're done, okay? Obviously, no eating on the bed, and try to put, as I've done before, put everything in one area, and keep the noise level down, as I said. And as I said, be mindful of other guests in nearby rooms, and keep alcohol to a minimum. I have a friend who drank Saturday night and could not host a panel the next day. This is true. I'm not going to say who it is, okay? Because, you know, I don't want to be that jerk to do, but I'm pretty sure this happens with a lot of people. I don't know if people drank a lot last night. You don't have to respond to that, don't worry. We will talk about alcohol, though. So, the golden rule, you have to be courteous, respectful, and polite, okay? To make sure everyone has a great common experience. Transportation. Oh my goodness. Okay. Budget extra time. I'm on a tight schedule. I had to run to catch my train on the subway in New York, and then thank goodness everything went well. I was able to take the green one, the C branch or C train. I don't know how you call it. The C. I just know the green line has B, C, D, and E. I don't know what happens to the A. But anyway, that's beside the point. It's okay. That's beside the point. So, budget extra time. So, if possible, look for a deal, especially with flights and when you take long distance buses or trains. Well, actually, there's only Amtrak. So, if you go unless if you're doing like commuter rail, like MBTA, it's all those purple lines that I see on the map. I know a little bit about the subway and the commuter rail. I did a little bit of research, so familiarize with the schedules. Know how to use, like if you're gonna take the subway or the bus, know how to pay the fare. Okay, I already had one person this morning who tried to tap the phone on this little area where you only tap with the Charlie card. Because in New York, we can tap the thing with our phone, with our Apple Watch, and the card. You guys don't have that yet, but I think you're gonna get there. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to know where your gate is, where your platform, where your tracks. I have two friends who went on the wrong platform and instead of going north, went south, and it was about maybe a 50-mile difference. Okay, it's an approximate 50 miles. And there were two other people who were trying to pick them up. They were going north, they were at the station, but they were at the other side. So they had to drive down there to go for another con. So please, please, please plan ahead. That's why you budget extra time, so when you transfer or whatnot, at least you take the time to say, okay, this goes this goes there, this goes that other way. All right, let me calculate, let me regroup. Got it, there we go. So, remember there's a saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So Google, everyone uses Google Maps. I use it too. It's not the only tool. You use other tools as well. In this case, I use mbta.com in order to get around. And no, I don't want to use Uber or Lyft. That's my last resort. Okay? I'm poor. and even if I'm not poor, I don't want to spend a lot of money. All right, so research different ways to get there. Have paper and electronic. I made a mistake. I didn't get the paper part. I was in a rush. But if you want everything electronic, you're rolling the dice. Okay, but make sure you take good care of your phone and you charge it, like I am right now. So your tickets and itineraries, your proof of COVID, of negative COVID tests, which that's for those who are not eligible for a vaccine, or the COVID vaccine, proof of COVID vaccination, which you should have done as you got your badge. That's right. So once booked, you have to monitor frequently because anything can change, whether it's a con, whether it's a transportation. And I haven't seen a lot of hotel changes, but the main changes are transportation and cons. Those are the many sites. I don't need you to memorize all of it. Okay, you can always search for it. All right, Kayak and Mamoto, it goes to different kinds of sites. But choose a site that works for you. You don't have to go through all of that. I have one person who likes Trivago. I don't know why, but it's there. So transportation also. This is public transit. This is New Jersey Transit. I know, sorry, it's like far away, but it's a commuter rail. So the bus was $70, and a private bus, our bus, was about $42. So I saved almost $30. So the savings are out there. You have to look. So there are many different examples of a COVID test. So you should know by now, because if you didn't have it, well, that's actually for under 5, because those ages 5 and up are now eligible for vaccination. What else are eligible after vaccination? Do you know? 5 and up. Yeah, what is it? Yes, everyone can get a booster, 5 and up. We just got approved just recently, this month. So on that day, I remember the advisory board said, yep, let's do it. And on a few hours later, the CDC director went, sign my name, boom, done. I've never seen it go this fast. Okay, that's the New York City version of it, because, so you don't want to take out the wall and all that, because if I take out my wall in New York City, someone's going to snatch it. That's why I have it on my phone. And on my phone, I actually a little side note, I actually have this thing, I put this around my arm. So if I have the regular phone and it's not, I don't have this lanyard, someone will snatch it. It's the Wild Wild West where I'm from, so. I'm not saying New York is totally bad, but I'm just saying that, things are getting a little crazy. I don't know about Boston, but it's getting crazy too? 50-50? Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so I took a picture of it. By the way, I actually got a booster, so this is a little outdated, but this is just an idea. But you should know about it. If you don't, you would. How did you get here? So, very important. This is why I still wear a mask. This is why we all still wear a mask here, because nothing's 100%. All right. So multiple layers of protection: your vaccination, the mask, the social distancing, if possible. If you're not touching your face. Oh wait. Oh my goodness. All right. If you're getting tested regularly, if you're opening the windows, if you're having good ventilation, if you're practicing hand hygiene, 20 seconds to wash your hands, sing happy birthday twice. So the less likely for COVID to hit you. All right, so now the reason why I put that there is because the reason why it's not 100%, those holes represent the little flaws that they can get into, but if the more layers you add, the less likely COVID is going to get you. So to mask or not to mask, I'm not going to talk too much about, but there is a lot of confusion going on. So if you're high risk, wear a mask. I have asthma, and I'm in the healthcare field. I'm a pharmacist. I have to wear a mask. Okay, I don't want to spread it to anybody. So in New York City, we're in the high range, so indoor masking is strongly recommended. My mayor is not mandating it for some reason. So as I said, if you're high risk, if you're dealing with dense or large crowds, whether it's indoors or outdoors, this time, all right, you're wearing your mask. if you have recent or suspected exposure to COVID, why are you here? We had one person, I think in California, who didn't realize he got tested positive for COVID. He just tested, and then he went to the con with a mask on, found out he was positive, then he went back home, and then people called him out, and he had to do a Twitter response. I don't have the videos, but a friend of mine shared it to me. I just don't know what to say. Some parts of public transportation, you need to wear a mask. Where I'm from, you have to wear a mask, but a lot of people don't follow it for some reason, and it's not enforceable too much. So, just letting you know the confusion is out there, but just play it safe. So, I'm not going to go too crazy on it, but some places have their masks required. This is a changing list. So, as you can see on the mask required, it's more than New York City area. So, but things can change. And then most places are mask optional. Like some of the buses. I know Flixbus, the masks are required. Monkeypox. So, Boston, you got your first confirmed case of 2022. Don't panic. Please don't panic. All right? We have vaccines, we have treatments. The treatments, there's no like specific ones, but it's more of supportive care. So I'm not going to go too crazy on it. So with monkeypox, it can be spread from rodents and primates to humans via bites, scratches, or if you're preparing bushmeat, or if you're eating bushmeat, especially if they're not cooked thoroughly. So it can be spread through respiratory tract. That's why you wear a mask. Skin lesions, so you gotta protect yourself, or sores. You can have broken skin, now you can see it, can enter through the skin. So it can enter through body fluids, mucous membranes, and contaminated materials. So that includes contaminated clothing, like bedding, for example, or clothes, if you haven't washed them. So the time between exposure to symptoms is about 1 to 2 weeks. COVID is around there, but it tends to be more lesser. So some people may get the symptoms within a few days. So you get flu-like symptoms first before you get these lesions that look similar to smallpox, which I'm going to show just a little bit, but just trigger warning. I don't want you to get queasy or anything like that. I don't know if you can breakfast, but yes, you can. They're two different viruses. All right, so this is part of the orthopox virus genus. COVID is under the beta coronavirus. Very good question. You can also get the flu as well at the same time. Different families. So big umbrella with different families. You know, like how there's humans, there's monkeys, there's bonobos, there's baboons, that kind of thing. So we're under that. So illness can last about 2 to 4 weeks, and lesion scabs can scab over, and it can resolve in about 2 to 3 weeks. Death rates is about 1 to 10%. Since we have pretty good health care, if you have the money for it or if you have insurance, no offense, you should be fine. But the best treatment is prevention. So we don't want anyone to spread it. It doesn't spread as fast as COVID. But unfortunately, I have to bring up the monkeypox part because we also have a case in New York City as well. And I want you all to be safe. That's my job. I want all of you to be safe and to have a great time. So prevention, so you want to avoid contact with animals that could have the virus. So as I said, primates or rodents. In 2003, there was an outbreak where they got prairie dogs from Ghana, that's the central part. So it's endemic in western central part of Africa, and they brought it to Texas. So avoid contaminated materials such as, contaminated bedding, anything with the clothes, if you haven't washed your clothes there. Proper hygiene is very important, and you isolate, just like as you would with COVID, all right? And also, of course, the mask and the PPE, as you hear about a lot. I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm just letting you know that there are vaccines and treatments. Do not memorize. Okay? So there's Jinios and ACAM 200. You don't have to memorize all that. I'm just letting you know that we got you. You're okay. All right? Don't panic. So domestic travel, these things change. It tends to be, they're being lax about it. So if possible, stay up to date with the vaccines. And there's no need to quarantine or travel before or after travel unless this destination requires it to. Now they're saying you have to test as close to the departure. That's for flights, of course. And check with the transit carriers, okay? It's not limited to your airline carriers. It can also be your subways, your commuter rails, etc. And you check your destination's COVID status and restrictions, whether you have to keep your guard up or whatnot. I always keep my guard up anyway. So safety precautions, get a PCR test 1 to 3 days prior to departure, and get it about 1 to 3 days after arrival. If you have symptoms, get tested right away. So masking is important, social distancing, if you're able to do it, do it. Wash your hands, as I said earlier, and if there's any rules or regulations that conflict, to avoid the confusion, go for the most stringent, go for the most safest. International, it's even harder. So stay up to date with the vaccines as with domestic travel. So check with the carriers and do all these things with the mask and check the CDC travel guidance. CDC will tell you if there's a high, medium, or low risk for each country. And now they're saying if you're going to go international, you get tested as close as you can, 1 day before travel. If you're coming to the US, you have to get tested at about 1 day before. Try to get it closer to your departure time, at 3 to 5 days after travel. You got to get tested again. Confusing, I know. I'm tired of testing already. I need this thing to end. I need COVID to end. This is crazy. So, no need to get tested before leaving the US in most cases, but when you come to the US, you have to get tested. And there's no need to quarantine after arriving to the US unless symptomatic. This can change. Anything can change. And airline passengers to the US may need to provide contact info, so please be careful. The CDC website, they will keep changing these things, so please pay attention. So that's just a summary there. If you're flying, you must have proof of negative tests, no more than 1 day before travel or proof of recovery from COVID in the past 90 days. All right, I'm going to explain more into detail what happens if you get tested positive. And by the way, it doesn't matter what kind of citizenship status or vaccination status. You're not going to travel if, obviously, you're sick. If you have the symptoms. Doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not, or if you're recovered. If you tested positive, you do not travel until 10 full days after either symptoms started or the date of the positive test. So if 10 days has passed and you have no symptoms, you're good to go. If you still have symptoms, you gotta wait, or else you're gonna spread it. So if you're waiting for your COVID results, if positive while you're at your destination, you isolate and postpone your return. It's tough, but the thing is, it's in the CDC website. I don't know if people are actually following it, so please, please, for your safety, for everybody else's safety, please try to stick to the rules as best as you can. Okay, you gotta postpone your return until you feel better. If you had close contact, you do not travel for 5 days after the last exposure. It's best not to travel for 10 days afterwards anyway, but that's why you see, after 5 days of quarantine, you'll see the other 5 days you're wearing a mask. But if you must travel, in days 6 to 10 after the last exposure, you have to get tested at least 5 days after that last exposure. And if it's negative, you're good. So that's your test out. If it's positive, you have to wait out the entire 10 days and then get tested. And then as long as you're tested negative, you're good to go. If you don't get tested, as I said already, you wait a full 10 days. And then you get tested again. So wear a mask as well. So if you had a close contact, but you're not recommended to quarantine, oh boy, Another layer. So get tested at least 5 days after your last exposure. So in order to test, travel, you have to be negative. Very obvious. So if you had COVID within the past 90 days, no need to test. But you still have to follow the protocols. If you travel during the 10 days after your last exposure, wear a mask during those 10 days. If not, you shouldn't be traveling, you should be isolated. But if you come back to the US, if you're unvaccinated, stay home and quarantine for a full 5 days. And regardless, you have to get tested at least 3 to 5 days after. So self-monitor for symptoms, and each municipality, each city, each state, they have their own different guidance, so look into that. As I said before, the strictest, the better. You go for those. Flying. Okay, so we're gonna talk about that one. It's expensive, and you have to follow the 2 to 3 hour rule. I don't know, some people, when they do domestic, they would arrive 1 hour prior, they're always on time. I don't know how that works, but as I said, you shop around, you book early, and fly on the least busiest times, if possible. So I hear Tuesdays and Saturdays, but things can change. But always look at the dates. Shop around for the dates. Shop around with all the list of sites that you see there earlier. And you have to bring your important documents. Starting May 3rd, 2023, your driver's license or your government photo ID must be a real ID or enhanced ID if you're in New York State. So you can fly domestically within the US. If not, then you can't fly. You can use a passport if you want. I think it's a little risky, in my opinion. I use passports when I go international, obviously. And you have to research on what to carry or check. I actually have a slide on weapons and props. And each con has its own different policy. And it tends to change every year. So pay attention to that. So if it's props, medical devices, liquids, for example, if you have a certain amount of liquid, they will not let you on a plane. Which is stupid, but it is what it is. And I talked about arrival, 2 to 3 hours. So as you should know, 2 hours for domestic, 3 hours for international. I like trains and buses. Why? Because I don't have to go there 2 to 3 hours prior. I just arrive there 30 minutes before the bus or train leaves. Okay, it's cheaper, but it takes a little bit longer. So you still have to prepare all your itineraries and your documents. Okay, my tip is if it's less than 250 miles, I don't recommend flying because it's around the same distance, assuming that you arrive to the airport 2 hours prior to departure. And we're not even getting to the delays. We're not taking into account the delays. So, public transportation, I've done it. So, you have to study the maps. It's easier. You have to know how to pay the fare. Don't be like that tourist who said, oh, I can't tap this one. What should I do? I don't know. How come there's no ticket machines here? Every station should have ticket machines. The station that I was in, Woolwich Corner, it was just a platform with a shed. That's it. They should put at least one machine. There's a machine at the Heinz Convention Center station though. And you gotta have different ways. You have to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, God forbid something happens. Driving, all right? Yeah, I get it. So someone told me you spend $70 for a full tank. So it's more freedom, yet there's more responsibility, and you have to pay attention to the gas prices. I think California it's over $7, if I remember correctly. So you have to get your car checked. Do it as if your car is going to the doctor's office. All right? If you don't check your car and something happens to the car and you're in the middle of nowhere, how are you going to enjoy your con? You're not even in the con. So you gotta take care of your car, and I don't care how much the gas prices is, have a full tank. All right, and also if you drive a little bit slower, you save a little bit more on gas. If you go more than 65, 55 miles per hour, maximum. And try not to idle, because that'll waste even more gas. I know, I don't drive, so. But anyway, carpooling, everyone there split the money. Okay, so the wear and tear, the gas, the tolls, the tips, and all that. If there's more than one person, you gotta split it among yourselves. And the driver chooses the music. The driver needs to stay awake. What happens if the driver falls asleep? You're screwed. I know it's obvious, but I have to bring that up. And also make sure the driver is not drunk and the driver is not high as a kite. Okay? Alright. Cosplay planning. You don't have to cosplay at a con. I want to cosplay. Okay? It relieves stress. Alright? Con punching is not advised, but I think we've all done con punching in some form. I've done it this week because my schedule is unpredictable. So you gotta research your dress code and weapons policy. You don't wanna show up, because since this con is for all ages, you wanna dress appropriately, of course. And plan how to put your cosplay together. I tend to use what's in my closet. I order from Amazon. Sometimes I'll make this stuff. Some people will just make everything from scratch. I don't know how you have the time for it, but I tip my hat to you. Alright, so you set your goals and objectives and stick to it, and start with what you have first. Because we have to save money. And you gather your materials and tools, you gotta consider the weather. For some reason, I live near the water, it's freezing. But when I was walking, I was sweating, so I decided to cosplay at the last minute. I wasn't cosplaying until I was able to get my badge and I was able to check in with my panel, and I went to the bathroom before coming to the panel to dress up. Because if I were to cosplay the whole time, you would see me smelly, and we're going to talk about the fact that you need to have deodorant. It's in my bag also. Always cost test. You want to have a wardrobe malfunction during the con? I don't think so. So the weapons and props, you have to research what it is. And I'm so lucky that they have a table on weapons check and prop check right after you go to the metal detectors. So you have to have that orange thing. It's hiding in there because I put my sword in there. So each Connor venue have their own set of rules, and it tends to change every year. You got to use your judgment and consider the materials used. So metals, they tend not to accept. Sharp things, they tend not to accept. So we were prepared for that. Live weapons, they tend not to accept as well. Okay, so sharp ones, of course. And when you have a gun, cover it. If you have a bow and arrow, try to have it so the arrow doesn't get released, for example. So how are you going to carry or transport them? That's how I do it. Sometimes you can hide them in the bag. Sometimes you have to have a different bag. One cosplayer I heard have like a company ship it for them separately, but you have to pay for it. All right. If it looks dangerous, don't expose it. That's why I hide it in a sleeve so that the NYPD don't arrest me, or the Boston Police Department don't arrest me, because even though it's EVA phone, people will still get very insecure or intimidated by it. So, yeah. Oh, thank you. I thought you had a question. So, go to prop check. Very hard to miss. That's what I did. If it passes, you get in this case, you get an orange zip tie. If it fails, you can either keep it code check or you bring it to your hotel or your car. So, as I said, disable it and deter it. Okay, projectile weapons, you have to disable it. Okay, be careful with sharp pointy objects. You gotta be aware of your surroundings. Okay, if you're hawks, you have the big wings, be aware of your surroundings, especially because you might hit someone. And the concern is one of your cosplay props may get damaged. We don't want that because you work so hard on it and you spend so much blood, sweat, and tears and money on it. All right, so it's very important that you take care of it. So handle with care, safety, as he said, safety first. No explosives, obviously. No pyrotechnics, the little things that come out. No smoke, and no bubbles. Bubbles seem safe, but bubbles may damage some props or some cosplays. So please be careful. And just be prepared that your prop may be confiscated. All right, my pepper spray got confiscated. One of my staplers got confiscated by Anime Expo, which does not make sense to me.
In Massachusetts, you can't have pepper spray without a license for it.
Oh no.
They'll actually, you can be arrested.
Because in New York City, you can just fill out a form, you just buy it at my pharmacy, you're done. All right, so you gotta have it prepared. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't even know that.
You can go to the police station and request it. They're usually you need it for a reason, like domestic violence and stuff. But they.
I'm Asian. Is that a good reason?
But
I'm sorry.
If you don't have that license, they can literally put you in the car on the spot.
Oh no.
One of my friends learned the hard way.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for the information.
Just so you know.
Yes. Just so everybody knows. Because I didn't know.
Not everywhere, but in Massachusetts.
Yes,
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the week before the con, so you're armed with all this knowledge. You know what to do now. All right? You just have to go over it. And have your travel checklist. Check if you have enough clothes. I tend to do 1 to 2 per day. All right? So you have to have your underwear, your pants, your regular shirt. And then you have to put your cosplays there too. I have a friend who likes to do 5 cosplays in one con. I don't know how you do it, okay? You have to have a much bigger luggage than that. All right? So do not carry more than you're able to, or else you're gonna lose your arms and lose your legs, and it's gonna hurt, and then you're gonna get injured, and then you're not gonna have a fun time. So download guidebook. Anime Boston's on guidebook, so it's much easier. Okay, not everyone has that. One of the cons I went to that my friend organizes has everything on one website, so it can change. And remember a long time ago, there was this booklet that I have with all 24 hours of the day. That should help you, because that should help you not to overschedule yourself. Because if you overschedule yourself, you're not having fun. Okay? Try to pace yourself. Don't overdo it. Okay, don't get overwhelmed. I know you want to attend all these panels and all those photo shoots and all that stuff. Prioritize, all right? And also have a little bit of wiggle room, because you got to get yourself together, or else you're going to go crazy. And we're going to talk about food also, a little bit about food. So also get your documents and travel itinerary and all that ready. That's a checklist for geeksgathering.com. By the way, there's a Nintendo Switch. You don't have to, but it's right there. All right. There's a voltage adapter. Wow. Okay. I have a battery pack somewhere in my bag. Obviously, your phone. All right. Deodorant, which you should bring. There, deodorant. Bring your medications, your battery packs, your wallet especially. Okay. There's one person in the pharmacy who thought that everyone accepts Apple Wallet or everyone accepts Apple Pay. That's not true. Okay? Always be ready. Water bottles, stay hydrated, very important. I brought my own. Soap, shampoo, contact information, emergency contact information just in case. So, God forbid something happens. Cosplay repair kit, all these different things. Those are just some of the examples. So I'm not going to go too much into it. These are your cosplay repair kits. I need to have a needle and thread, okay, especially if something comes off. Bobby pins, the clips, those little things over here, etc. Glue, scissors, those kinds of things. So wear a mask. That's already in the policy for Anime Boston. Follow safety precautions. Take a shower, please. Please, before you come to the con, please take a shower. Okay, don't go just pour yourself water and you're done. That's not how it works. Okay, I know everyone's in a rush, but you gotta do it thoroughly. And I said this again, put deodorant on, okay? Don't make me go there and force you and get my deodorant and put it on you, all right? You gotta brush your teeth. I don't want to smell your bad breath, okay? Wash your hands 20 seconds, or bring your hand sanitizer or your Purell, whichever. Make sure you clean your clothes, okay? Hopefully there's no monkeypox, just kidding. Okay. You arrive to the con, finally. You have to arrive super early. I came around 8:30. There was LineCon at the Sheraton this morning. I don't know what happened, but anyway, arrive super early, get your badges. Okay, I have to arrive super early because I have to prepare for this one. This is one of the first panels of the day. And if you're able to find a free bag, code check, simply because if you don't want to carry too many things for the whole day. And also always reevaluate because things can change. Guidebook, they tend to change on a real-time basis. So always check your guidebook out, in this case for NOA Boston. All right. And as I said, high priority, focus on those. The ones that are really popular, go for those first because they'll have the long lines. And there was one con where, well not one con, one panel where I went 1 hour ahead of time and I was rejected because they couldn't fit any more people. So these things do happen. And do not overschedule. You have to leave gaps so you can eat, you can rest, you can stretch, all these kinds of things. And also have a backup plan just in case. If one panel is canceled or you can't make it to another panel because for whatever reason, at least find another thing that you can do at the con. Anime Boston, if you see the schedule, it has everything. It's like so many. So there's just so much to choose from. So cons, most cons will have all these things. By the way, watch what you're spending, okay? That's why I put splurge alert. Splurge alert. Dealers room, artist alley, autographs. I have one friend who spent $1,000 in one day just in dealers room and artist alley. Okay, we're gonna talk about money here and all that stuff. We're gonna get into that. All right. It does add up. And plus with the autograph, especially with voice actors, please support the voice actors. They don't make a lot of money when they do the voice. They make a lot of money when they go into contests, how they do their living. So please support them. Obviously there's panels and the photo shoots, and the meetups and the concerts and masquerades, and the dances, and the contests, and the gaming. This con has everything. That's what I love about it. That's why I keep coming to this. So online virtual, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but basic, you already know. You can do it online. You can have your artist alley dealer's room through Etsy. That's one example. It's easier to organize, but it's harder to spread the word because you have to have more people spread about it. All right, you can be flexible, and sometimes you can go hybrid, as I said earlier. So those are just a few of the examples. So online virtual cons, a similar list. There was actually a dance rave for one of the virtual cons I did, and it was on Discord. It was a video of a DJ playing the music, and you can play music in your room. I don't know, it seems a little different. I like to do it in a dance floor with everybody. so you can have autographs, but instead of getting it on the spot, they deliver it. The panels and meetups are through streaming. I had to do it through Instagram Live. I talked about coronavirus back in March of 2020, 2 years ago. So in the early stages of the pandemic, with one of my friends' cons. So 6-2-1 or 6-3-1 rule. So 6+ hours of sleep. There is a study now. They say you should do 7. All right, but if you have a busy schedule, you can try with 6. For me, I tend to sleep a little bit more. And when I sleep, I'm dead. Or I'm in a coma. Like this guy. Everything is blacked out. So I need like a really strong alarm clock to wake up. When I was at KatsuCon, I didn't go to the rave. I had a panel. I came in. I knocked out of nowhere. Didn't even realize it. I had to ask my friends what happened. All right, what did I do? Did I snore? It was like, oh boy. 2 to 3 meals a day. It has to be real food. What is not a real food? What is not a real food? Who knows what is not a real food? Coffee is real, but it shouldn't be the only one, so you're close. Popcorn could be a real food.
Coffee and energy drinks.
Coffee could be, but it's nothing. It's like, how many calories is this? 20 calories? You can burn it in just a few minutes. Energy drinks is not a real food. Let me make that clear. It is not a real food. Can you drink it? Yes, but you have to eat real food. Same thing with coffee. You can drink coffee, but that shouldn't be the only thing you put in your mouth the entire day. All right? You need your carbs. You need your protein. I know, a lot of people don't like carbs, but you need the carbs for the energy. You're going to be walking all day. You need your protein as well. You know, work out, all that stuff.
If you go to easily down the hall, they sell really good bread too, simple carbs.
Yes. Simple. No, we want complex carbs. Yes. Thank you for bringing up. We need complex carbs because it makes you full faster and it takes time to digest. Simple carbs, on the other hand, you get, especially like sugar from candy, your energy is going to go woo! And then after that, you crash.
5 hour energy.
Yeah, what happens after 5 hours energy? You crash and burn. Yeah, I'm sorry. What are you going to do? Yeah. What are you going to do after a 5 hour energy drink? Aside from passing out. You're going to get another 5 hour energy drink and see how that goes. I haven't tried that. I've never tried it. Okay. I tried Red Bull. It's disgusting. I'm sorry.
Have you tried Monster?
I tried it. I like the orange one. So, but I get a little jittery. You know, but 2 to 3 meals a day. I would go more for the 3. All right. You know, if you're hungry, you have to eat. Okay? You gotta listen to your body. I don't want you to pass out, especially if you're diabetic. Or especially if you're type 1 diabetic, if you need insulin, for example. You know, if you use insulin and you don't eat, you're passing out. I don't want you to have low blood sugar and you pass out. Okay? And I said this, I have to emphasize this. Gotta shower, okay? This person forgot to put soap. All right, and the deodorant. But put that in there in addition to that. So your goal is to have fun. Okay? If you forget about all of what I said, your goal is to have fun and to be safe and to be positive. All right? You have to keep your schedule realistic, as I'm trying to right now, because I'm so into it. And balanced and flexible. So be prepared if there's any changes or cancellation. Have some breathing room, as I said. Add alarms to your phone. Guidebook has this notification where if you want to put it to your schedule, it'll say, put 15 minutes, like remind you in 15 minutes or 30 minutes, yeah. Wear comfortable shoes. I'm not wearing those slippers that Kia wears. I'm sorry. Okay? You have to keep track of your time and money, like what I'm doing right now. And if you're tired or if you're overwhelmed, look for quiet or safe spaces and take a step back and breathe. Okay? This is a con. This is not work. All right? This is not a business trip. All right? I know you want to make the most out of it. So do I. But you got to take a break. But always forget is to have fun and to be safe. Spoon theory. Who's heard of spoon theory? How many spoons do you have each day at maximum? Not a lot? That's not a number.
Like, probably 6.
6? No, I mean, like when you start the day. What's
Probably
20? You're actually right. That person, Christine Mr. Andino, said for some people to start at 20. Some people start at 100. I actually don't use it. A friend of mine actually told me about this. So that's one way of using energy as a currency and to use energy wisely. So it's very obvious. You use whole spoons, by the way. If you rest, you get more spoons. If you do an action, you lose spoons. Very simple. So it depends on your stamina. Some people, if you play, I don't know how playing a video game is 3 spoons. Because it really depends on how long you're playing a video game. If you're playing a video game for 5 minutes, how many spoons are you using? It depends on how intense the game is. Exactly. Exactly. So maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's 5 or 10. All right. I don't know how driving is 4 spoons either, because it also depends on if you're in New York, or if you're in Boston, or if you're in the suburbs. Or if you're in a highway or in a residential area, or how long you're driving, so many different factors. but these are just some of the examples, so in case if you want to utilize this, it's there. So how it came up was Christina Sorrentino had lupus, so there's only so much energy she can use. So round it to the nearest whole spoon, depending on what activity you're going to do, and that's the amount of spoons you're going to lose. If you run out of spoons early, you're going to borrow spoons from tomorrow, and you're not going to have enough energy left for tomorrow. And everyone has different levels of stamina, and everyone's different. Maybe playing a video game is 1 spoon. Maybe playing a video game for other people is 5 spoons. Depends. All right. So it does not equal between 2 people. So money, we have to go back to money. All right. Your first thing you should ask: why am I here? I'm here to have fun. How do I feel? Well, I love this. I need to get this. Do I need this? So I had a friend who talked about if there is a physical need, whether it's a need as in you need to survive, or there's this kind of emotional need. So, okay, and then you've got to determine whether it's a need or a want. Some people, they're able to get comic books or some other items, and then after several years or so, the price went up and they're able to sell it on eBay. So maybe that's just one factor. Maybe that's why people need it. I'm not sure, because I buy it for myself. I don't really sell it. What if I wait? So maybe the price may go down. How do I pay for it? Will I use my credit, my debit, my mom's allowance? Just kidding. Okay. And where will I put it? I barely have room to put it, so I'm not going to be buying a lot of things. Etiquette. You should know this. Cosplay is not consent. There's one problem. People outside of this Heinz Convention Center and the Sheraton and all that, they don't know it. And I'm very upset about that. So keep your hands to yourself. I had a former governor in New York, cannot keep his hands to himself. Okay, don't do that. You'll get yourself into trouble. You know what governor I'm talking about, right? Good. He's a neighboring state. Okay, so you have to be polite, respect each other, okay? And when you're taking photos and videos, please ask permission. I was Minato. I was going down one of the on a con, and a person was videotaping from the bottom. And I heard footsteps. I'm like, why are you videotaping? I was looking at him, and he just got up and went away. And remember, I'm a guy, and I'm fully clothed because Minato has a lot of layers. Either way, it's disrespectful. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, or whichever gender it is. Which, it's disrespectful if you don't ask permission. All right? Be careful with people's possessions, costumes. Do not get upset if people say no. You move on. Also, if people want to take a picture and you don't feel comfortable, say no. It's as if I know it's easier said than done, but you're here to have fun. You're not here to have problems. So if this continues and if someone's harassing you, state and address the behavior, and you have to tell them it's wrong to do so. If it keeps going, you ignore and stay away from the person and be with a group of friends. Okay, so the group of friends will protect you. If this keeps happening, you go to con ops. All right. Also, you gotta take a picture of the person, just even better, so you can show the evidence and all that. Report to con ops, police, con staff, those kinds of things. So etiquette, please don't block moving traffic. Stay on the side, especially if you're going to take a picture, all right? And respect people's space. I can't emphasize this enough. And be aware of the surroundings and be alert.
Make sure you look down too.
Exactly. I told this to a lot of tourists in New York City. When you're crossing the street, forward, backward, above, below, and in between. Because you might be stepping on something. You might get hit from something above. You might get hit from the in the back. Someone may hit you from the front. You may get hit from the left or the back. That's exactly. So you may see that especially in dealers and Mars alleys. I don't know about the top part, but everywhere else. You may be stepping on something like, oh my god. Okay, so etiquette, so cosplay judging is only for cosplay contests. If you have nothing bad, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it, okay? When a person cosplays, that's great. It doesn't matter what it is, because they actually put the effort in it, even if they just bought it. Alright? No one's perfect. It's an art. There are people who make fun of my costume because of the way my wig is and all that. You know what I did? I will do a Santa Claus version of the cosplay. I'll even do an e-boy or e-girl of that cosplay, because I want to piss them off. Okay? I love to see them get pissed off over it, because they want everything canon. Canon is not the only thing to do, and I'll explain why. Alright? So there are many ways in cosplay, and you gotta compliment, acknowledge the effort, and you praise and motivate. So if there's something, you say something going on, you don't say them in a bad way. You have to tell them, hey, you got it, but let's work on it. You're gonna get there. You gotta motivate, you gotta empower as well, right? So that's why it's important to have constructive criticism. You don't have to love or hate cosplay, okay? Not everyone's a pro. As I said, respect the effort. Okay, Team Rocket is joining the Akatsuki. The people who are very strict with canon, I think they're gonna get a stroke when they see this. Okay. You want the canons to get the stroke? There's more. Yes, half Naruto, half Sasuke. There's also 12 different Sasukes to cosplay from. Yeah, Naruto. Yeah, exactly. So, it doesn't matter how tall or short, doesn't matter your weight, doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter what your gender is, doesn't matter what your age. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. My skill level sucks. I have no time. I just buy it and I just use it from the closet. You can cosplay whomever you want, as long as it's not offensive, of course. And you look great, all right? Because, we're all nerds, okay? Nerds, in my opinion, help the world go around, okay? It's right here. So please end the cosplay hate. Networking, having fun is one thing. You can also network with making new friends. You can actually exchange ideas, all right? Or that person may get you to a job, but that's if you want to get to that point. So, of course, you want to be yourself, make friends, be respectful, all right? Ask about the cosplay's interests, share your passions, and also you can speak to me after the panel if you have any other questions, for example. I'm autistic, so sometimes I have issues with communicating. I'm still working on it, but I think I'm getting better. So I tend to practice with a friend. I sometimes have a script, and sometimes I keep notes and reminders for myself. And I have to realize that not everyone's gonna befriend you, and that's okay, because everyone's different, right? But you don't take advantage of anyone, and the same goes the other way around. You don't let anyone take advantage of you in any way. And also, please don't blow up my phone. Please don't blow up anyone's phone or the feed, all right? That's annoying and it's disrespectful. So sharing common interests, you can start that with networking. You can do online groups and forums, or icebreakers such as, what's your favorite character in an anime? What's your favorite anime in general? Your manga? Your favorite character is ships. I'm not big with ships because ships cause a lot of tension for some reason. If you have any help or advice, for example, or a compliment. So you can network basically anywhere. So those are the lists. Your meetups, your panels, the lines, the dances, the dealers and artists alley, etc. Social media, we gotta talk about it because there's a lot of toxicity going on. That toxicity needs to go out the window, all right? So you be careful what you share. And if you're gonna share something, you have to know what your risks and your benefits are. And what's the reason for sharing this, all right? What's your motive, all right? And keep it clean, respectful, all right? You don't wanna spread disinformation either, or misinformation, all right? No discrimination, no shaming, all right? It's not allowed. Okay, cons and parties. Who likes to party? Woo! All right, you gotta limit your alcohol intake. I know, I'm a party pooper. There's a reason for that. This is for your safety, okay? And I'll explain why. No illicit drugs, no smoking, vaping, yes, even the marijuana part, because we have kids in the con. I'm sorry. All right, you can do it outside from, as long as the kids don't get, exposed to it. Okay, why do I put a full meal before partying? Does anyone know? Why? I wouldn't say balance out the alcohol, but I would say it would slow it down. But I get what you're saying. So, as opposed to having an empty stomach. What happens when you have an empty stomach? Basically, that's full range right there. Bam! And I'll explain more about it. Don't give in to peer pressure. Okay, if you don't want to drink, don't drink. I always have a water bottle with me. If there's negativity, you don't get into it. You go more into positivity. That's why you go with friends. And when you party, don't overdo it. Okay? Please don't. Take it easy. Remember what the goal is? Have fun and be safe. Okay. I tell this as a pharmacist. To limit alcohol intake to 1 to 2 glasses a day. Is this a glass a day? I don't know, but exactly. Well, we're gonna get into it, okay? Oh, that picture, that's for me. I want to enjoy every time I make slides, okay? So CDC guidelines has this thing on alcohol. 1 glass is 0.6 ounces of pure alcohol. So 18 milliliters, sorry, that's a little metric system in pharmacy. That's a little bit more than 1 tablespoon of pure alcohol. Some examples include 12 ounces of beer if it's 5% or 10 proof. You'll see the percent anyway on the beer or the alcohol or the beverage. 5 ounces of wine or 1.5 ounces of a shot. So your daily limits. If you're a woman, 1 glass a day. If you're pregnant, nursing, or taking certain medications, 0. If you're a man, 2 glasses. I know, life's not fair, okay? Why is that? Because men tend to have a higher metabolism and more water content. And with more muscle, it tends to have more metabolism. So now, you have to be careful on what you're drinking and how much. There's other factors, such as if you're Asian or if you have, so a lot of Asians, they lack a certain enzyme. And I'm not going to get into it, but what it does is it neutralizes the alcohol a little less, so it doesn't take much alcohol to get drunk. Not all Asians, but that's just something to watch out for. All right, I'll just say aldehyde dehydrogenase. You don't have to memorize that. So again, but the main message is to be careful on what you're drinking and how much you're drinking. So as I said, below 21, I don't recommend alcohol. You're pregnant or nursing, do you want your baby drunk? No. Okay. If you're a designated driver, do you want to drive drunk? No. You want to get into an accident? No. If you take medications, alcohol will interact with a lot of medications. And if you have health conditions, alcohol can damage your liver. If you have cirrhosis and you take alcohol, you're screwed. Don't memorize the numbers. Memorize the trends. So the skinnier you are, so if you weigh less, it doesn't take much drinks to get you drunk. The bigger you are, all right, you're going to need a little bit more to get drunk. But there are other factors such as the genes, well, not the pants, but the GENS. The genes, like if you ate before drinking, etc. Or if you drank a little bit slower, or if you drank a little bit fast. So many other factors. Okay, here's my equation here. So we're gonna do it a little quickly here. So if you're curious about how much pure alcohol you're drinking, you're gonna calculate the amount that you drink in ounces times the percentage of pure alcohol divided by 100, and then you get your ounces of pure alcohol. As a reference, 0.6 ounces is 1 glass. Okay, so women's limit is 1 per day, men is 2 per day. In that case, 1.2. All right, so one example. I went to a bar because I had a long day at work, right? I drank 8 ounces of Hennessy. This one is 40%. How much pure alcohol did I drink? Don't worry. So Due to time issues, we're gonna go straight into it. So I drank 8 ounces of pure alcohol, well, not pure alcohol, I'd be dead by now. 8 ounces of the Hennessy, all right? So I multiplied that by 40% of pure alcohol. So for every 100 ounces of the Hennessy, there's 40 ounces of pure alcohol. That's what it is, it's a ratio of 100. Divide that by 100, it's 3.2 ounces of pure alcohol. What did I say about 1 glass? 0.6. That's 3.2. How many glasses? I think 5. Let's look at the chart. 5 drinks. Where am I? Deep in the red. Yes. So I made a bad decision. By the way, I didn't drink, but I'm just saying, scenario kind of thing. All right. Assuming you survived being drunk, okay, if possible, attend the feedback session. I'm sorry. If there is a feedback, I know 3 years ago, Anime Boston had a feedback session. So after the con, if you want, go to feedback session. So if there's anything you want to talk about, if there's any complaints, you bring it to them. If you don't have the time to do it, email the con and provide the feedback. And I maintain contact info with attendees, with the staff, share your pics and positive experiences. The reason why I do that is because it's the fight against the con blues. Because when I come home from a con, I'm really sad and I'm so, that's why I plan for the next con or event. To relieve my stress. So, mental health, very important. I don't think it gets enough coverage. I know it's getting more, but it needs more coverage. It needs more attention. Seriously. I'm telling you this as an autistic. Alright? So, the post-con blues and depression tends to be mostly normal and temporary for most people. So, solutions, focus on something positive, talk with your therapist, your friends, your family. Take it easy. You want to diet and exercise. The exercise part, go at your pace. Don't overdo it, or else you're not helping yourself. I plan for another con. That's what I do. Okay, some friends will have cosplay meetups, right? Cosplay meetups. If it's still affecting you, you seek professional help. You can see a psychiatrist. There is a BetterHelp app, so you can do text or video phone calls, and as well as group sessions. Con crud. So the sick part. So getting sick during or after the con, assuming it's not COVID. Hopefully it's not, but you still have to get tested, all right, just to be safe, especially the symptoms. So typically cold, flu, other illnesses. So that's what happens when you don't get a lot of sleep, when you eat too much junk, you're not eating the right foods, if you have a bad diet, you're in a large crowded place, especially when they're not wearing masks, if your immune system's compromised and you're not taking care of yourself, you're gonna have issues. Also, I strongly recommend getting tested for COVID. So we're gonna treat it. So no alcohol, please. All right, we don't want to go through this. Rest and fluids. So if you have the pain and fever, the safest is Tylenol or acetaminophen. Advil or Motrin, you'll see ibuprofen. You have to take it with food. If you have kidney issues, I don't recommend that. But ibuprofen is another alternative for pain and fever. It tends to be stronger. Cough drops, I have it in my bag. I'm gonna use cough drop right after this panel. Vitamin C and D tends to be used for immunity. D can also be used for both as well. If you're dizzy, you can use Dramamine or Meclizine. If you're having coughs, I've used Sinex DM. So that's the one with the guaifenesin. That's what we call a mucolytic. So it loosens the mucus. Dextromethorphan tends to go for the dry cough, so it helps with that. Allergy season sucks. Okay? Who wants a Benadryl? I don't. Okay? Benadryl works if you want to go to sleep as well. It's very strong. So I tend to use Allegra. It works for me. So Allegra, Claritin, Zyrtec, they're all antihistamines, so they all work similarly, but Benadryl is the one that really knocks you out. But just one of the side effects to be careful with is dry. You tend to feel a little dry, so please stay hydrated. And also watch if you take other medications, please pay attention with drug interactions. Which leads to this. All right, so I don't know, if you buy an over-the-counter item, do you even look at this? Yes or no? You gotta look a little bit, you gotta focus a little bit more time on that. There's a reason for that. It's for your safety. I said this so many times. Okay, so active ingredient, you have to know your uses. Directions is a big thing, so you don't overdose. All right, and you also watch with drug interactions. And in case if you overdose or whatnot, they have a poisoning hotline there. It's very important. All right, so I'm gonna go just quickly into this. So active ingredients, so it shows what's in it, so uses, so you know what you're using it for. You have to read it before you buy it, okay? So you know what you're targeting. So your warnings, so you read through that. So if you have certain conditions, you may not be eligible for that medication. And then there are directions as well. So other information, so it'll show all the other things. The reason why they put inactive ingredients is that some people may get allergic to some ingredients. All right, take-home messages. I know it's a lot of information, but if you forgot a lot about these things, I need you to know that you gotta plan early, be organized, plan ahead of time, be proactive, try not to spend a lot of money, time, energy. You know, be smart with what you're spending. Be positive, have fun, be safe. Anyone can cosplay. All right, make friends. Your health is important, as I've said many, many times. You gotta be respectful with each other, and you gotta stay dirty because, as I said, being dirty makes the world go round. And don't spread COVID or monkeypox. And if you're eligible, get vaccinated against COVID and the flu. And thank you so much. I know this is a long panel, so I just want to thank Jazzy for reading through all this as well. So, if you have any questions, I'm here for another 3 minutes. Or you can come to me, yeah. All right, thank you for coming to the panel. I hope you enjoy the con.